A thread by Pat Scopoliti. 29 November 2020. MAGA analysis. Flynn speaks. Awaiting guidance no more. With leaders such as President Trump and General Flynn, you never have to guess. Freed, General Flynn can now speak. So when he doesn't, take no action. When he does, listen and follow. I truly hope you will all at least listen to the first half of the interview. I'll be listening to the second half soon enough, but haven't yet, where General Flynn rises straight up to his former power and strength. Here are my messy notes. Allow me a moment to share my reasoning for sharing. First, I'm a terrible penman and an even worse visual artist. Yet, for all my atrocious weaknesses, the process still succeeds. I have terrible hand eye coordination. Mindfully engaged, my notes are even uglier. One of the great lessons my short life of political volunteering has taught me is that we must accept our own limitations and never allow them to stop us. Embracing weakness as such, no excuses, we move forward and employ strength for purpose. In this, I boldly put myself forward as your role model. Take action. Stop fretting. You can't look any worse than my messy notes do. No way. Yet, take action. Find your mission and engage with all you are, holding nothing back. Got that? The second reason I share is this. It may well be that if you can force yourself to view my ugly scratchings while you listen, it may help your listening to take in more than you would otherwise. I have captured most of General Flynn's points in my idiosyncratic way. All that covered, we turn now to key points, supporting ideas, references and sources, and of course, further analysis. As I just did, you may want your second pot of coffee. We're in for the ride here, friends. Last intro point. I will not be following the points in order. Okay? Well, I'll kind of follow the basic flow, but we'll be bopping Alula my way along, happy random at will. In General Flynn's guidance, here is a single greatest driving theme. President Trump will win. 1 to 10 scale, 10. Trump will win. Trump will win by a landslide. Like the vertebrae of your spine, every time General Flynn returns to the topic of Trump's victory, you have the, to mix metaphors, stepping stones of his counsel for us. I don't know if he selects themes consciously like that for his reason. It's coming from his heart. No person could possibly, honestly listen to his words and judge them as dishonest or faked. General Flynn's picture should be in the dictionary as part of the definition of the term heartfelt. Why is that just one word? It should be two. Heartfelt. That's General Flynn. Not emphasized quite as repeatedly or strongly, General Flynn has a set of facts he presents. He has seen the evidence and knows it to be beyond compelling. It is rather completely overwhelming and could not possibly offer even the shadow of a doubt. Here are the states where he boldly declares victory: Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin, with a brand new 130,000 fraudulent ballots just found. He calls that somewhere between a victory of 350 to 400 electoral college votes. All these facts emerge into a larger whole called paths to victory. We'll talk about those more in a moment, but listen especially for the rising trill in his voice as he describes them. Quickly, though, we go back dark again. The greatest fraud in American history. Circling inside this topic, suddenly we hear about 20 years of China's grand strategy. Wow. Okay. If you follow me, you know this is coming. I know why he picked that time frame, and I'm going to tell. Buy this book. It's from 1999. Let's take a quick look. Unrestricted Warfare: China's Master Plan to Destroy America by Liang Chao, I think that's pronounced. We're going to linger here. If you already own a copy, then buy a copy for someone whose mind you respect and give it to them. Start a patriotic discussion group and read chapters out loud together. Work it through. This is the most important book by an enemy since Hitler's Mein Kampf. In this interview, General Flynn warns us when your enemy tells you what they're going to do, you had better listen, plan, and be ready. Consider this document in that light. From presentdangerchina.org, China Declares War on the United States by Chet Nagel. Pat Scopoliti continues, but as critically important as their 2019 declaration of war is, unrestricted warfare is the more important document. I can't spend the time to extol its phenomenal power, brilliant thinking, and writing, and beyond compelling force. I can tell you it is beautifully written, wonderfully conceived, and that I rank virtually in a class of works that only Sun Tzu reads. Don't let me get started about Sun Tzu. Just let me tell you again, buy this book and read it well, and then read it again. Let's pause a moment and see if we can't pull some of these apparently random pieces together. What is the story so far? Alas, I just remembered. General Flynn gives us a War College throwaway line about 6 phases of Chinese warfare thinking. Gotta turn there now. I don't mind confessing that that bothered me. Why? Well, I've never been to military college, and for all my work on China and warfare, I'd never heard of it before. I hate that. Why didn't he ever mention that to me before? Oh well. Learning never ends. From warontherocks.com, American Strategy, and the 6 Phases of Grief. I'm not sure that the article or the diagram it offers us, highlighted in this graphic right here on the screen, is precisely the same thing General Flynn has in mind, but it's close enough. I'm very confident now. I had to turn my head and squint my eyes a bit, but I was able to decode it. Here's a little help. On this diagram, phase 0 is called shape. I'm guessing that that is what General Flynn referred to as phase 6, kinetic. Sorry, hang on a sec. I'm guessing that that is what General Flynn referred to as phase 6, kinetic, or knocking on your enemy's gates. That is, per Sun Tzu's guidance, the very last thing you ever want to do in war. Fight last. A single quote will cover us here. Ultimate excellence lies not in winning every battle, but in defeating the enemy without ever fighting. End quote. And then, almost without thinking about it, General Flynn gives us one of the greatest lessons we might ever learn. It is all the previous 5 phases are about, wait for it, information. And the previous 5 phases, by the way, 1, 2, okay, so phase 0, shape, phase 1, deter, phase 2, seize initiative, phase 3, dominate, phase 4, stabilize, phase 5, enable civil authority. Okay, so they're your 6 stages. Holy Beijing and Hong Kong thrown in, I would never have come up with that. Never, mind you. It's embarrassing, but true. Never. In a face-saving effort, let's try to apply 1, deterring activities. Just one example. Give your enemy the information that you're a friend and deter them from preparing. 2, seize initiative. And isn't it interesting the diagram maps out activities for each phase? Are you familiar with the Confucius Institutes in American universities? What about the most sophisticated spying operations in human history snagging all our technologies? The two are intimately tied. Check it out. Link in the thread, Wikipedia article about the Confucius Institutes. Just throw in a bit of industrial espionage and enforced technology transfers, and how could you possibly doubt the genius level strategic advantages the Chinese have mounted up these decades of seizing the initiative activities? and follow the information trail too. Phase 3, dominating activities. Here, think the World Trade Organization, most favored nation trading status, and also globally the Belt and Road Initiative. You must know about this from CFR.org, China's massive Belt and Road Initiative. We're told that the game of Go is one of the oldest games in the world. You can never understand Chinese strategy without at least a slight idea of how that game is played. It is being played against America as we speak. Link in the thread to the Wikipedia article about Go. Phase 4, stabilize, is precisely what we saw during the Bush 41, Clinton, Bush 43, and Obama years. Every aspect of the deterring, seizing the initiative, and dominating activities were stabilized during all 4 presidencies. And where does that leave us right now? We are now 4 years into their ultimate attempt to enable civil authority. Mind, not your civil authority over ourselves, no, their civil authority over us. And with a single grand objective, it is the complete and utter destruction of our democracy and constitutional republic. Let's go back to the game of Go for a second. First, you want to surround territory. Second, you may also enclose it from 2 sides. Think show up from the outside, but simultaneously show up inside. Outside in and inside out. It is the inside out that is the real key. No need to fight at all. Remember Sun Tzu. If you corrupt the ruling system of your enemy from within, that is what a Joe Biden presidency embodies in its final form. That is the threat we face, and we must understand our soon to be Chinese overlords if we allow it. We haven't addressed the current corruption of our election yet directly, and I think I won't spend too much time on it. But can you see the stepping stones from 1999 here by following the 6 phases of war map we've laid out? Paul Shari's article is, I think, a great introduction, but I could not disagree with his conclusions more strongly. There absolutely is a right way to think about war. It's been documented since Sun Tzu and and must be known. Further, even in the phase of his multi-dynamic diagram, he calls this too linear, ridiculous. I hate it when an analyst presents a case merely to attack it. He's right to present this, wrong to attack it. No more on that. Let's turn back to General Flynn's remarks about the failure of electronic and mail-in efforts by the end of the day, November 3rd. Knowing that President Trump had won in such a great landslide as to overcome all of their previous cheating, a new phase of cheating was needed. What do? Simply stop the count. Why? In order to fraudulently count the deficit and cover it with new types of fraud. To the degree I understand it, this is where the Dominion machines and their foreign servers, etc., come most effectively into play. Not that there weren't countless, pun fully intended, other ways to defraud the vote too. But here are machines that will tally anything you want them to, show up in the vote system, and then be gotten rid of, destroying any connection between count and vote. The sad thing for Biden, China, and the Democratic Socialist Party of America is that there are hundreds and hundreds of faithful patriots from both parties who will stand silently by and allow our who will not stand silently by and allow our nation to be rotted from within. The wool is no longer over their eyes. So, with their sworn statements of witness, all of which absolutely the vaunted missing evidence, General Flynn knows that there are, we say again, paths to victory. So much so that he has absolutely zero doubt of the outcome. Oh, wait, one more thing before we look at those paths. General Flynn explains that it is state legislatures that certify their own final counts. He adds, as long as there are meaningful legal challenges, they cannot complete their certification. They won't. Listen again to his supreme confidence rising, his frustrated irritation falling as he explains this. My favorite thing he ever said to me was, "Steady, boys. Victory is in sight." I wish he'd have added that to the interview. Here's one analysis General Flynn has, I believe, considered. Presently, President Trump has 232 electoral college votes. He needs only 38 more to reach 270, winning re-election. 6 states have been legally challenged. However, the president does not need all 6 to win. President Trump has 4 clear paths to victory. Path 1, Georgia, Michigan, Arizona, 43 electoral college votes, 275 total. Path 2, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, 42 electoral college votes totaling 274. Path 3, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, 38 electoral college votes totaling 270. Path 4, Michigan, Arizona, Wisconsin, 37 electoral votes, 269 at 269, 269. Resolution resides within the House of Representatives. There, all representatives must vote by state, each state receiving 1 vote. President Trump wins in that scenario. 45 is such a magic number. Here is one such user-created map for your additional consideration. So, be calm and of good heart. He tells us the right people are employing the right strategy to safeguard this election and this president. We, the people, spoke with a unified voice, and we will not be silenced. We are not ready to allow this fraud to destroy our republic. Hear the strength and historic power of his voice when explaining the meaning of the vote itself. Nowhere else are ever actually and truly equal with the wealthiest person in America, as well as the poorest, as when we enter the voting booth. That is our equality. Hear the historic roots of this principle. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. It is the very first and most important founding principle of America, and the only such in all of human history. It is our vote that expresses this. Is that enough for today's work on General Flynn's half-hour guidance? I think so. I hope so. If not, please carry on. Your hearing is 100% as valuable as my own and may be very different indeed. By all means, please sound off. Just when I thought I was out, I pull myself back in. Alas, there was an absolute, more than anything else, most important point that I completely disregarded above. This is a coup. So then, I hope it won't take too long, but after another quick break, we shall return and finish up on the coup. Diligence, I say to myself, diligence, the home stretch. Our host asks a simply brilliant question, referring to General Flynn's published statement where he uses the term coup. Here's the full statement, and just for grins, let's go ahead and read it. What? Why is this? Oh, okay. Personal statement from General Flynn to America by Michael T. Flynn, November 26th, 2020. Sorry. By Almighty God's grace, and with the love and courage of my wife Lori, the strength and fortitude of our families, and the inspiration of our friends, and every single patriot who circled me with their prayers, wisdom, and kindness, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. For the first time in more than 4 years, and because of my fearless attorney, Sidney Powell, the guardian angel of American justice, and thousands of good people with endless energy rallying together on my behalf, I breathe freedom and liberty today. We are a nation founded by leaders who fought tyranny and oppression to ensure that all American citizens be treated fairly and equally across the land. These constitutional and God-given rights should never be denied or disguised behind false prosecution or political persecution out of fear, hate, or an opposing voice. Those who scowl at the very core of our republic and act from vengeance or revenge against one of us threaten the safety and security of all of us. Never again should any family or individuals be so viciously targeted, maligned, smeared, and threatened, such as has been the experience of my family and me. Not you or your loved ones, not me or President Trump or our First Lady and the Trump children. Stand with me today in renouncing this betrayal of trust that has burdened our nation and proclaim with one united voice across this land that we will never again allow the rightful power of the citizens of this country to be uprooted, undercut, usurped, or held hostage by a coup against our nation, a duly elected president, or any future president of the United States. For over 3 decades, it has been my honor and privilege as a soldier and public servant to fight for the rights of American citizens and for citizens of the world. I have fought alongside the bravest men and women on distant battlefields in the midst of the fire and fury of war. In this fight for my life and liberties on the battlefield of justice and truth, my faith in God and the love and support of my wife, Lori, have seen me through. Along our journey together, we have been blessed to have the trust and support of millions of Americans across our great country and around the world. These are our digital army of patriots who inspired us to keep fighting, uncovered secrets we would otherwise have not known, and shared with us their thoughts, dreams, and wisdom throughout this ordeal. Many months ago, one patriot wrote to me, "I only recently learned of you. I've been willfully ignorant of this world and the level of evil in it. God is moving in our lives, and I know my purpose now is to raise my 5 patriots to love God, fight for truth, and defend the United States of America, one nation under God." End quote. We are so deeply and sincerely appreciative for the force of light brought into our lives to battle on, and we will never forget the trust placed in us to never give up the search for truth. I am forever grateful to my legal team of warriors, a team that came into our lives during the most difficult time. Sidney Powell entered the Flynn family's lives like an angel sent from heaven with the fighting spirit of David, ready to slay Goliath, and she did. Each member of our small defense team, assembled by Sidney, fulfilled unique and difficult roles with a warrior's spirit. Mr. Jesse Binnell, a brilliant leader and polished legal street fighter, possessed an expert grasp of the law and a common sense approach to discovering the truth. Ms. Molly McCann, who is an intense scholar with a superb mastery of the law, a true warrior, and someone of great faith. Molly spent tireless hours researching, reading, and writing, all the while helping her mother's fight with cancer. Mr. David Warrington's steady hand and advice on navigating the minefields of the Washington, D.C. legal circuit were always on the mark. Lindsay McCassin and Abigail Fry are 2 determined legal professionals who were relentless in piecing together a million-piece puzzle, allowing our team to find the truth. A special thank you goes to my warrior sister Barbara, who took on managing my legal defense fund, and between her and my youngest sibling and brother Joe, did countless interviews to help raise necessary and important funds to fight this fight. And finally, my sister Claire Eckert and my daughter, my goddaughter and niece Alicia Kutzer, rounded out our team. My oldest sister, Claire, is a tough but superb legal and business professional, and Alicia is a remarkable lawyer. Without a doubt, we could not have won this fight without their counsel, exceptional research and writing abilities, as well as their unwavering love. I can never thank them all enough for taking on this monumental challenge to win. Because of them, my eyes are brighter and my heart is filled with love for my sons, their wives, my grandchildren, and for all members of our extended family of Flynns and Andrades and so many, many others who kept me going and gave me strength through their prayers and messages of hope for the future. Together, we have overcome this enormous hurdle. Now, we will get back up on our feet, dust ourselves off, and not fear what lies ahead. We may be tested again with false accusations and untruths and hatred for our beliefs and for raising our voices, but we cannot be deterred and we cannot stop. Time does not always heal all wounds, but discovering the truth has a funny way of shaping the scars. To all Americans, what we choose to do in this life should never be stopped by fear. Instead, we need to embrace the uncertainty and accept the risk that comes with sacrifice, and then work to overcome the sheer magnitude of life's challenges, especially during this crucible of our nation's history. Our very survival as a nation is at stake. The Flynns will never stop being the fighters that our parents, Charlie and Helen, taught us to be. Through generations of military in our past, and with many of us still serving our nation in one capacity or another, we will rise up to the next set of challenges together and defend our families, our homes, our honor, and our nation. Even today, perhaps more than ever before, America requires tried, true, and tested patriots to ensure the future of our children and grandchildren. And in the end, there is only one who is the judge of our ultimate destiny. God bless America. Michael T. Flynn. Pat continues. A point of courtesy is well worth noting. The website where this statement is published is one created and run by Tracy Beans. Tracy is, as General Flynn has so frequently shared, running one of the most important parts of the mission to counter the coup. So do check out her website, as well as scan General Flynn's profile here for further information on topic. He calls her a true American hero, and I can readily attest to the same. Here is the referenced paragraph, which I now quote in full. Never again should any family or individual be so viciously targeted, maligned, smeared, and threatened. Such has been the experience of my family and I. Not you and your loved ones, not me or President Trump, our First Lady, and the Trump children. Stand with me today in renouncing this betrayal of trust that has burdened our nation and proclaim with one united voice across this land that we will never again allow the rightful power of the citizens of this country to be uprooted, undercut, usurped, or held hostage by a coup against our nation, a duly elected president, or any future president of these United States. Peel the onion with me. Never again allow the rightful power of the citizens of this country to be uprooted, undercut, usurped, held hostage by a coup against our nation, a duly elected president, any future president of these United States. I won't attempt my usual efforts to tie down exactly what a coup is or provide any examples. I do have to say, along with our host, it will take some very, very broken brains here to let this sink in. We are in the 5th year of a coup and more. General Flynn explains that the first 4 years were merely phase one, and that this phase two has taken the coup to a totally different and new level. I will linger on that. Political opposition has always been a very dirty game. We can say that phase one was the worst such example. To be clear, the fight against President Trump's administration, with its intention at first to perhaps so discourage this to their perception, spoiled brat, coarse playboy who into just quitting, was indeed the worst dirty, dirty politics in American history. It set a new line. Its 4 year, continuous, and unstinting effort was to remove a duly elected president and to undermine his power with no holds barred. We'd never seen anything like phase one before. Never. But there was something else going on, and it takes us back to China. The indissoluble bond between Beijing and DC, the Chinese Communist Party, and the Democratic Socialist Party of America did a failure analysis after 2016 and came to a new determination. They were not going to allow 2020 to go to the MAGA movement and Trump again, period. I hate to do it, but one last time. For today, I have to remind you of the 20-year time frame that General Flynn attaches to the lead up to all of this, and to the great statement of Chinese policy in the book Unrestricted Warfare. 2020 begins phase 2. It is perhaps the defining aspect of phase 2 that way beyond mere dirty politics, no matter how extreme, we are now in all out political warfare to destroy both our democracy and our constitutional republic. The coup is no longer merely against Trump or even MAGA. The coup is against our nation's very infrastructure of freedom, our very soul as a nation. The coup is retroactive. Consider, if this coup succeeds, every ounce of blood spilled by American soldiers for freedom will be in that moment made meaningless. I am not ashamed to tell you that chills run up and down my arms and spine as I contemplate the absolute erasure of all the sacrifice from Valley Forge to the reclamation of the ISIS territory. Our Chinese enemies surely know that. Their ultimate victory will not live up to Sun Tzu's highest degree of excellence. They know they'll have to invade us eventually. The American spirit is just too strong. It will have to be broken by force. They know this. Consider again the final phase of their concept map: theater shaping. There are countless military sci-fi writers ready to guide your terrified mind through these scenarios. They're some of the most brilliant minds and greatest analysts we have. Find them and read them. I simply offer COVID-19 as a single, pertinent example. Wipe out all freedoms in the great cities. Weaken the very stock of our people, our herd. And how can this fail to aid in shaping the theater of conquest? Yet, why fight at all if we really do just give up free of charge? That hope is the hope driving this coup. We end today for real on that note. This is the fight we have. We must join each other on this field of fight, and yet be ready and be steady, as victory is in sight, boys.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.